Here are 5 calm bedtime stories to help you relax and fall asleep. In a cozy little cottage, an old woman and an old man sat together by the fire. They spoke softly and smiled. "I wish we had something sweet," said the old woman. "That would be nice," said the old man. The old woman went into the kitchen. She mixed flour, sugar, and warm spices. She rolled the dough carefully. Then she took a small cutter and gently pressed it into the dough. Out came the shape of a little man. She placed it carefully on a tray. She added bright eyes, a smiling icing face, and candy buttons, a neat little bow tie too. The gingerbread man looked cheerful and ready. Then she placed him gently into the warm oven. After a while, the gingerbread man suddenly moved. "I'm alive," he said happily. With a quick little hop, he jumped out of the oven and landed on the kitchen floor. He looked around and smiled. Then, without stopping, he ran across the kitchen, through the open door, and out onto the road. A moment later, the old woman came into the kitchen. "The gingerbread man," she said. She hurried after him, but he only laughed. "Run, run, as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man." And he ran further down the road. The old man came out of the cottage and saw her running. "What happened?" he asked. "The gingerbread man ran away," she called. He nodded and followed her. Together, they continued the chase. As the gingerbread man ran across a meadow, a gentle cow looked up. "Stop, little one," said the cow kindly. But the gingerbread man smiled. "Run, run, as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man." And he ran on. The old woman and the old man ran along the path and reached the meadow. There, they saw the gentle cow. "Have you seen a little gingerbread man?" the old woman asked. "Yes," said the cow kindly. "He ran past me, laughing as he went." The old man and the old woman looked ahead down the path. "Thank you," they said softly, and they continued their chase. Soon, the gingerbread man passed a horse. "Wait," said the horse softly. But the gingerbread man laughed again. "Run, run, as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man." And he ran faster still. A small red chicken saw him next. "Please stop," she said. But he did not stop. He ran past her, singing his rhyme once more. At last, the gingerbread man reached a wide, gentle river. He stopped. "I can't cross this," he said sadly. "The water flowed softly before him. Nearby, a fox was already watching. "Why do you look worried?" the fox asked gently. "I need to cross the river," said the gingerbread man. "I can help," said the fox. "Climb onto my back." The gingerbread man jumped swiftly onto the fox's back. The fox moved slowly into the water. The river was calm. The gingerbread man sat on the fox's back for a moment, feeling safe. Soon, the gingerbread man stood up. "I am too quick for anyone to catch," he said proudly. He began to jump and dance on the fox's back. "Be careful," said the fox gently. "You might fall." But the gingerbread man did not listen. He kept jumping happily. The fox's back was narrow and a little slippery. Suddenly, the gingerbread man lost his balance. He slipped and fell into the water. The river carried him away, and slowly he disappeared. The fox stood still for a moment and watched the river. Then he turned and walked away. The countryside grew quiet again, and from that day on, everyone remembered to stay humble and listen when others warn you. A hare once laughed at a slow little tortoise. "You are too slow," he said. The tortoise smiled. "Let's race," he replied. The race began. The hare ran quickly ahead, fast and full of energy. Soon, he looked back and saw no one. The tortoise kept walking slowly, but never stopped. "I have plenty of time," the hare thought, so he rested under a quiet tree. Meanwhile, the tortoise kept walking slowly, steadily, without stopping. Step by step, he moved forward. He passed the sleeping hare. And kept going. When the hare woke up, it was too late. At last, the tortoise reached the finish line. The tortoise had won the race. The hare felt surprised and a little sorry. The tortoise didn't rush. He didn't stop. He just kept going, and that made all the difference. Slow and steady wins the race. Three little pigs lived happily together. One day, they decided to build homes of their own. The first pig built his house quickly using straw. It was easy and fast. The second pig built his house with sticks, a little stronger, but still quick. The third pig worked much harder. He carried heavy bricks, one step at a time. The other pigs laughed gently. "You're working too hard," they said. But the third pig kept going, carefully, patiently, placing each brick. Soon, his strong brick house was ready, safe and sturdy. Not far away, a wolf was watching, quietly, from behind the trees. He walked up to the first pig and spoke in a calm voice. The wolf then huffed and puffed and blew the house down. The first pig ran quickly to the second pig's house. But the wolf came again and blew that house down too. The two pigs ran together to the brick house. The wolf tried his best, but the brick house did not move. At last, the wolf grew tired and slowly walked away. The three pigs stayed together, safe and warm, and they lived happily ever after.
Goldilocks loved to skip in the forest. She skipped past trees and flowers along the path. "I wonder what I will find today," she said, and she skipped a little farther than before. Soon, Goldilocks saw a small cottage. "Oh," she said, "what a cozy house." She knocked on the door. No one answered. So Goldilocks stepped inside, but she smelled something warm. Porridge. On the table were 3 bowls of porridge. Goldilocks tasted the first bowl. "Ouch, too hot," she said. She tried the second bowl. "Brr, too cold," she said. Then she tasted the third bowl. "This porridge is just right," she said, and she ate it all. Goldilocks walks into the seating room. she saw 3 chairs. She sat in the first chair. "Too hard," she exclaimed. She went and sat in the second chair. She sinks into the chair. "Ugh, too soft," she says angrily. Goldilocks sees a cute yellow chair. She sits in it. "This chair is just right," she exclaims. She bounces in the chair happily, but suddenly, crack. "Oh no," she said. The chair broke. Goldilocks began to feel very sleepy. She walked into a quiet bedroom. There were 3 beds waiting. She climbed into the first bed. "This bed is too hard," she said grumpily. She tried the second bed. She sinks too deep into the bed. "This bed is too soft," she says. Then she climbed into the smallest bed. The blanket felt warm. The pillow felt soft. "This bed is just right," she whispered. Goldilocks pulled the covers close, and soon she fell fast asleep. The 3 bears came home from their evening walk. Papa Bear looked at the table. "Someone ate my porridge," Mama Bear said, "and mine too." Little Bear looked sadly. "My porridge is gone." The bears went to the chairs. "Someone sat here," said Papa Bear. "And here," said Mama Bear. Little Bear gasped. "My chair is broken." The bears walked into the bedroom. "Someone slept in my bed," said Papa Bear. "And mine," said Mama Bear. Little Bear looked closer. "There's someone in my bed. It is a little girl." The 3 bears look at the sleeping girl quietly. Goldilocks sat up. Papa Bear spoke firmly. "You came into our home. That was not polite." Goldilocks looked down. "I'm sorry," she said. "I didn't mean to." Papa Bear nodded slowly. "Thank you for saying sorry." "You should always ask for permission before entering a stranger's house," said Mama Bear kindly. Goldilocks nods. Little Bear stepped forward. "It's okay," he said. "We can be friends." Goldilocks is overjoyed. "Really?" asked Goldilocks. Little Bear smiled. "Yes, friends forgive." Everyone smiled. A new friendship began. Goldilocks and Little Bear ran outside. They laughed as they played in the woods. The forest felt happy and peaceful, and their friendship had just begun.
On a quiet morning, in a cozy little cottage, lived a kind young girl. Everyone called her Little Red Riding Hood. because she loved wearing her bright red hood. Her mother was preparing a small basket of food. "Grandmother isn't feeling very well today," her mother said gently. "Would you take this basket to her?" Little Red Riding Hood smiled. "Yes, Mother." "Stay on the path," her mother added softly. "I will," she replied. Little Red Riding Hood stepped onto the forest path. The trees were tall and green. Sunlight danced between the leaves. Birds sang softly as she walked, holding her basket carefully. Not far away, behind the trees, a wolf was watching quietly. He peeked from behind a tree and saw Little Red Riding Hood walking alone. Curious, he stepped out onto the path. "Good morning," said the wolf. "Where are you going today?" "I'm visiting my grandmother," Little Red Riding Hood replied. "She lives in a cottage near the big oak tree." "That sounds lovely," said the wolf. "Perhaps you could bring her some flowers too." Little Red Riding Hood looked around. The forest was full of beautiful flowers. "That's a wonderful idea," she said. She knelt down to pick flowers. Red ones, yellow ones, blue ones. Butterflies fluttered nearby as she filled her basket with blossoms. While Little Red Riding Hood was busy, the wolf took a faster path through the forest. He hurried to Grandmother's cottage. The wolf knocked on the door. "Who is it?" asked Grandmother. "It's Little Red Riding Hood," the wolf replied softly. Grandmother opened the door. The wolf quickly stepped inside. The wolf gently guided Grandmother to a large cupboard. He placed her safely inside and closed the door. Then he put on her nightcap and climbed into her bed. Little Red Riding Hood reached the cottage. The door was already open. She stepped inside quietly. "Grandmother," she called softly. She walked into the bedroom. Grandmother was lying in bed, but something didn't feel quite right. "Grandmother, what big ears you have." "All the better to hear you with," said the voice. "And what big eyes you have, all the better to see you with. And what big teeth you have." The wolf smiled. "All the better to smile at you with." Just then, a woodsman was walking along the forest path. As he passed the cottage, he noticed something unusual. The door was open, and from inside, he heard soft, strange noises. He paused for a moment. Then, slowly, he stepped toward the cottage. The woodsman stepped inside the room. He looked toward the bed and saw the wolf. The wolf froze. For a brief moment, everything was still. Then suddenly, the wolf hurried to the window and slipped out into the forest. The room became quiet again. The woodsman opened the cupboard and helped Grandmother out. Little Red Riding Hood smiled with relief. They were safe again. Little Red Riding Hood ran to her grandmother and hugged her tightly. Grandmother smiled and held her close. The woodsman stood by the door and spoke gently. "Remember," he said, "never talk to strangers. and never share where you are going. Little Red Riding Hood nodded. "I understand," she said. The woodsman waved goodbye and walked back into the forest. Long ago, in a small village, there lived a poor boy named Jack. He lived happily with his mother. They had very little money and only one thing of value, a gentle old cow. Every day they hoped for better days, but life was hard and food was often scarce. One morning, Jack's mother said, "Jack, we must sell the cow so we can buy food." Jack loved their cow very much. She was his best friend. So Jack felt really sad, but reluctantly agreed to sell her. So Jack took the cow and began walking to the market, hoping something good might happen. Jack and the cow kept walking through the green pastures until they were stopped and greeted by a stranger who was walking towards them. The man looked at the cow and smiled. "I will trade you these magic beans for your cow," he said. Jack looked at the beans. They were small, shiny, and unusual. The old man promised they were truly magical. Jack believed him and happily traded the cow for the beans. The strange old traveler walked away happily with the cow he just bought. Excited about the magic beans, Jack ran all the way home to show his mother what he had received. When Jack's mother saw the beans, she became very excited. "Magic beans?" she asked. "Let's sow them to see what they grow into." Jack and his mother sow the beans in the garden, and they go to bed hungry that night. During the night, the beans began to grow, slowly at first, then faster and faster. By morning, a gigantic beanstalk had grown from the ground and stretched high into the clouds. When Jack woke up and looked outside, he could hardly believe his eyes. The enormous green vine twisted and climbed far above the village, reaching up toward the sky. Curious and brave, Jack decided to climb the beanstalk. Higher and higher he climbed, past the clouds and into the sky. The ground below became smaller and smaller until he could no longer see his home. When Jack reached the top of the beanstalk, he stepped onto soft white clouds. In the distance, he saw something incredible. A huge castle floating among the clouds. Curious and brave, Jack carefully walked toward it. The castle doors were tall and magnificent. As Jack approached, the beanstalk gently stretched forward and slowly pushed the castle door open. Jack looked around nervously, then quietly stepped inside the enormous castle. Inside the castle, everything was enormous. Giant chairs, giant tables, and giant footsteps on the floor. Jack walked slowly through the quiet halls. Suddenly, he heard a deep, rumbling sound echoing through the castle. It was loud snoring. Jack carefully followed the sound and discovered a giant sleeping soundly in a huge bedroom. The giant's snores shook the room like distant thunder. Trying not to make a sound, Jack quietly sneaked past the sleeping giant and entered a nearby treasure room. Inside, He saw many wonders, but two things caught his eye immediately: a beautiful golden goose that laid shining golden eggs, and a magical harp that gently played sweet music all by itself. Jack realized that the golden goose and the magical harp could help not only his family, but the entire village. Just then, in the bedroom, the giant was woken up from his nap. He heard noises from the room next to his. He yawned and rubbed his eyes. Jack carefully picked up the golden goose and the magical harp and began sneaking back through the castle. The giant looked up after rubbing his eyes and saw Jack running toward the castle door. The giant roared and began chasing him across the castle. Jack ran as fast as he could and reached the beanstalk. Holding the goose and the harp tightly, he quickly climbed down toward the ground. Behind him, the giant thundered after him down the beanstalk. Jack climbed down faster and faster as he could feel the beanstalk shaking from the giant following him. He soon could see his house and his mother looking up at him cheerfully. He finally jumped onto the ground below. "Mom, quick, chop the beanstalk," Jack shouted. His mother grabbed an axe and swung it with all her strength. With one final chop, the magical beanstalk disappeared into nothingness. The giant vanished with it. Jack and his mother were finally safe. The golden goose laid many golden eggs, and they were never poor again. Jack also shared the wealth with the villagers, and the magical harp filled the village with beautiful music day and night. From that day forward, Jack and his mother lived happily, always remembering their incredible adventure with the magical beanstalk.